Alright, so now we're live.
Okay, I'll refer.
So this Eddie, I don't know if you guys saw him in the last stream, senior software engineer, has his own startup, open source advocate, top in the, I don't know, I always say one of like top 100, but I don't know if that's correct, but where am I at in terms of accuracy? Top 100, top 500?
Top 500, yeah, last year, and trended with Angular and Google and Facebook on GitHub as well. So that's been great.
And how old is your startup now?
Startup started 3 years ago, but not really as a startup, just more of as a hobby project. So I'd say more officially and more seriously, probably about a year. And we've gone to quite a few events over the last 12 months. So it's been great to get user feedback and get that interaction with people, seeing what people think and what their use cases as well, because everyone has a different kind of setup. Although it should hopefully will set a standard and get people on the same page.
Yeah, what's up, Texture Tree, Top Tech? How's it going? Welcome aboard. Let me know if you guys get that notification. So did you bootstrap your startup from the ground up? You didn't take investor money, right?
I didn't take investor money. No, I funded it all myself. So as a consultant or as a software dev, I've been putting money into the business and building it up that way. So I don't really want funding from people. I've had friends who have taken funding and they kind of push you in a direction you don't necessarily want to go. Whereas I want to go in a direction that I believe is best.
Well, it's like taking a loan. It's like you take a loan, and if you can't pay it back, now you're blacklisted from the entire startup community, and no one's ever going to work with you again. And like 80% of venture capitalist startups fail. So at least if you fail as a startup on your own, you just try again. You fail as a startup with someone else's money, now you got sharks.
Exactly, and I'm really keen to keep my my startup fully open source. Whereas I know that people have taken investment, they get really scared and they go, "Oh, you must close everything, keep it private, super secret." That's not really how it kind of works.
So there's some people in the chat. What's up, guys? So feel free to drop some questions for Eddie or me or whatever you want to know. Eddie's a wizard. He knows all the languages, every single one of them, all of them. He knows Fortran, Cobalt. He's your man. Marissa, how's it going? Zainul.
Hey,
Amadine Smith, Franchette. So yeah, if you guys got questions about dev, he's your man.
Any questions, just fire them this way. Let us know where you're dialing in from. Got French, but lives in the UK and in London. So great to have you here.
I think this is the first time we actually streamed like on time, like on a schedule. At least for me, I was like, hey, I'm going live at 9, and it's like actually live at 9. Just want you guys to know. This was an investment. This was planned and calculated. What would you write in a resume if you have no experience and want a job? Eddie, go.
Get some experience, even if it's with a side project. Make sure you just have something. You need to get your one foot in the door. You want to have a conversation piece. You don't want to go into an interview. Even if you got the interview, you don't want to go in with kind of no discussion points. So if you can do a side project, put your learning, anything you're playing with, stick it on GitHub. Even if it's not perfect, and even better, if a few weeks later or a month later you look back at it and you hate it, that's good. That means you're learning. So that's fine. And you can talk about that in the interview. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Just don't try to like lie and sell your cheesy personal project as like paid experience. Because they're going to know. They're going to see through that and be like, this button doesn't work. Like, who paid you to do this? All that stuff. Hey dudes, either of you interested in iOS? I don't really know much about it. I know Xcode, bare minimum. Eddie, I don't know about you.
Yeah, I haven't done any native development in a long time. I'm using more Ionic. I use React Native a bit, but didn't like it. So Ionic's really good. It's more of an Angular style framework. So I don't believe there isn't a massive need for native unless you want specific features that need performance, although it's something special you're doing. But most apps are kind of crud. You're kind of reading some data, listing it, searching it, and it's all APIs doing all the heavy lifting. So I would keep things easier. And if you're learning, say, a full stack kind of JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and API side, you can apply it not just to mobile apps, but to web dev and to other things, even Electron on the desktop.
El Rhaegar, first off, let me just say you blew your interview, but it doesn't matter because you learned a whole lot. Like, it's like you didn't get the job, but you got a lot of experience, which is technically more valuable than a job because now you can translate that to any job. It choked on simple tech questions. It happens to everybody. Senior engineer, guess you don't have imposter syndrome anymore.
That's actually not true. I think I get it more now as a senior dev, because I said this last time and Josh laughed, but I think the more I learn, the more I realize how much I don't know. So I think I get it more now than I used to, whereas before I was quite cocky and had a lot more time on my hands. So if I needed to learn something overnight or over the weekend, I'd kind of pull an all-nighter. Whereas now I've got to be a bit more balanced with my time. So I think I'm a bit more honest now than I was as a kind of a young, arrogant guy back in the day. But so it does happen. I think it happens more, and I think it's normal. Just keep learning. Be honest. I think it's finding that balance. You don't want to undervalue yourself, and you don't want to overvalue yourself. It's finding that balance, and it's a bit of a game, kind of toing and froing. The more you do it, the more you do things, the more you realize. And just to add to the person who said they messed up an interview, that's fine. Even if you have 4 interviews coming up and you want the 4th one, that's the job you want, go to the other 3 for practice. And if you mess them up, it's all experience and all practice. So it's fine. Take a positive out of everything.
Nick, thanks for the other day. Asked about the burn rate, real numbers to the startup, and it helped in the negotiations. I hope it worked, because they were being kind of flaky with you. They were kind of like, well, for the foreseeable future, we have funding. What is the foreseeable future? Is that 6 weeks, 6 months, a year? Like, what is their burn rate, Like, I don't know. I always ask startups, like, if they don't want to give you hard numbers, what are they hiding? Especially if it's like 3-4 people. Like, if I'm going to invest my bills and livelihood into this, I'm going to need to know how long I got, bare minimum. Anyways, congratulations, Nick. Hope it helped. Got internship as PHP junior, thanks to you guys. Hey, dude, congratulations. Some clap emojis for you, except in real life. How vital is it? Oh, wait. There's one asked about. So Pedro wants to know, hospital clerk job as work experience. Just leave it out. Just leave it out. If it's IT related, include it. If it's like retail or like totally unrelated, I would take that out and just build a personal project and put that there instead.
I want to jump in with the Marvang. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. You've got a really good question there. When do you know when it's time to move jobs? So that's a really good one. I think the sweet spot is about 2 years. I think after 2 years, you kind of get quite relaxed and you don't learn as much. You keep doing the same technologies, the same things over and over again. Even if it's less than a year, it's really worrying, less than a year and a half. So if the pay isn't great, see if you can just stick it out for a little bit longer, because your pay on your next job will increase more. But if it's really short on your CV, alarm bells will ring, and sometimes things go wrong, and you can have that on your CV. I'm not saying never, but as long as your next job or the one before was definitely around the 2 years mark, give or take 6 months.
Cool. Team project, you did all the work. Should you say this? Or I worked in a team. Don't say I did all the work. You look like a douchebag, number one. No one wants to work even if you do all the work, like managers are good managers are supposed to pass the glory onto the team and be like, yeah, I just facilitated it. Because if you do good, give it to your team. Don't be like that guy that's like, yeah, it was all me. I did all like that. Just looks really, you look like a douchebag. So you obviously are going to work in a team at work. So if you look like the guy who wants to you look like a one-upper, you're going to be like, actually, I did that and I did even if you're not like that, that's how it looks, at least on paper.
Yeah, in the kind of agile teams in technology, we don't like the hero mentality. Like that nowadays, actually pushing to fire the hero because it causes more problems than it does, and then it helps really. So yeah, even if you do a lot of the work, try and spread some of the work. And the hero mentality is not a good thing. If you've got that one person, if something goes wrong, it's always that one person that fixes it. Then you've got the bust factor, and it's high risk. If they leave, quit, get injured, ill, whatever it is, there's high risk. So yeah, don't be that person, because a lot of the companies are trying to get rid of that person now.
Okay. Where can I get that shirt? I don't know what shirt you're talking about. This shirt, I got it in Finland in one of the little flea markets because I had no money. Best language for creating a social media app, Flutter or something else. It doesn't matter what language, dude. Stop looking for language. Just look for best way to create the app and then figure out from there. Is it considered easier to get a position at a startup compared to other larger companies? It depends on you. You have more negotiation room, I'd say, at a startup because it's just a couple people. You can get more personal with them. rather than just like playbooks, or by the book kind of HR interview questions. Whereas a startup, it's like, all right, this is how much money we got. This is how much we could pay you. What do you think you can do with that? And then you can just kind of negotiate. It's more of a buffer, I'd say, for startups, especially because it's so like tight knit, and they can't afford to pay probably industry standard like a huge company. So they're willing to budge a little bit on experience if you can just prove that you want to do it or want to learn. If you can handle that. I mean, I would always go for startups. Number one, because I like the flexibility of it, and I don't mind taking that risk, and it's burned me every time. But I would still do it again if I had to get a job. I'd get a startup job.
Just to add a little bit more to that, startup, you'll do more, you'll learn more things, you do a lot more things. Big corporate, you'll probably get pigeonholed doing certain piece of work, so just bear that in mind. It's good to have a bit of a balance in your CV, but startup is more fun. I agree with Josh.
I like doing all the things. I like doing all, I got hired front-end developer, but hey, today I'm doing social media posts, and I'm looking at analytics for how our posts are performing to our customers. Like, I don't know. I like doing all those things. I think because of you guys know how I am. I'm always like, I want to do my own thing. That kind of like, I can take all those skills and move elsewhere. If you just want to be a really good dev for the rest of your life, just work for a company, get lots of salary, work at a corporate job, because you'll be there for a while.
I've just seen a question from Amadine, and actually Josh is the best person for this. So how do you highlight the work you do and what you learn on side projects and hackathons? I'm actually really quite bad at this. I'm getting a bit better, but I think Josh he's really good at branding and the company subscribers he's got and his great community he's got on Discord that's really active and was helping each other. So yeah, I'll let you answer that. How can you kind of sell yourself in not a salesy way, I suppose, and show people what you can do?
Highlight the work you do and what you learn during a side project or hackathons. So you can just put bullet points. Like, I just start at the top of your GitHub and put maybe like a recap of where you started and where you ended. If it's not still a work in progress, you could just keep like a little journal on your README in your GitHub. That sounds super cheesy, but if you have like little bullet points and like dates there, and you're just like, all right, currently refactoring this, or like, this is what I'm trying to implement, don't know how to do it. And then the next day you put like another little calendar date, and you're like, all right, figured out how to do it, implemented this. Like, and they can see that matches in the commits. I mean, obviously there's some like amount of trust and you can explain that, but who's gonna question that? As far as like highlighting it, like during a side project or hackathons, I don't know if you have the project for hackathons. Like if you mean like your individual work on a team, just talk about what you did, show the entire app, give credit to the team, and just be like, I did this portion here, and I worked with these people, and they helped me collaborate and contribute with the rest of it. I don't know if that actually helps.
Make sure that your work at the hackathon is open source on your GitHub profile, and therefore you can always include that in your website or your tweets and when you go for interviews and so on. I think, again, open source ties into a lot of this. I think that would be good. Should I jump in with another one, or have you got any other one you want to answer?
I'm looking. Let's see.
So I see, why is web dev so difficult? There are so many languages. It is different in that web dev just is made up from so many different languages, so much choice. But that's also part of the fun. This year you might like one language, next year you might like another one. I think learning your first language is the hardest, and then once you've learned one, and we're doing it for quite a few years, you could pick up another one a lot easier. So I would say just get stuck in, learn one, not necessarily 100%, and I don't think I'll ever learn it 100% because it's always changing itself. And it's good to go deep in one language and good to go wide over everything else. So at least you're aware of other languages and what they can do, pros and cons and limitations. So if you needed to use one, you'd know why you want to use it and where to look. But definitely try and go deep in one or two languages first as well.
So Mauricio was asking about any good sites for someone not living in the US. Yeah, so Stack Overflow got perks for visas and they got perks for remote. WeWorkRemotely.com is also like international. RemoteOK.io, those are good. Those are like the main three. If you go to Indeed, you can type in remote. Just make sure it doesn't autocomplete remote Oregon, because that's an actual town. What's your best channel for QA on YouTube? I don't know anything, Eddie. Do you got anything?
Actually, funny enough, I was talking with a friend of mine yesterday on the train home from London, saying that we need to get some more QA stuff, automation, because we do that. I do that as a job. So when I deliver a feature in a project, I'm not only doing the coding, I'm also doing the automated testing with Cucumber or Cypress or Selenium, whatever the project's using, and we're also doing documentation. So we were actually thinking there is a bit of a gap where it would be nice to bridge all that together. So watch this space, subscribe to my channel, and give us some. Let us know what you'd like to see more, and maybe we can do some more on Josh's channel as well. I think it's important. It's all important to get a solid, high quality feature done. It all needs to be done part and parcel of that. So at the moment, I don't know, but I will do a bit of research and find out.
Oscar, I can't tell if you're trolling. Don't you feel, Josh? Don't you feel guilty for misleading people, thinking they can be computer engineers without going to college? You mean WTF? Many people truly believe they will be engineers by knowing HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. That doesn't make you an engineer. An engineer is the definition of your ability to analyze and solve problems. How you do that doesn't matter. If you want to rest on a college degree to prop yourself up in terms of like your pride, hey, you do you, man. But no, I don't feel guilty because I have a degree and I don't use it, so it doesn't matter. And everything I solve problems with, I'm self-taught. So, I don't know, Oscar. I don't feel guilty about it, and I'm not misleading. There's actually a lot of people in here probably that don't have degrees. Eddie's degree is totally unrelated.
I've got 2 degrees. I got a master's, and I agree with everything that Josh said. It hasn't helped me with my work today. I've got a master's in advanced electronic engineering, so it's kind of related, but not really. But yeah, it was a jolly for many years, and I came out with a big debt. So some people need it, some people don't. But it's not needed. I needed it personally to kind of get a bit more organized in my life. But in terms of coding, it didn't help me. They didn't teach me how to code. I actually hated coding at university because it was taught so badly.
So this is something that I'll touch on just a second because I know people just like get triggered over it. But when everyone's like, JavaScript's not software engineering. Okay, this is how I define software engineering, so you can disregard what I define. But I would say software engineering is like a top title, and then everything underneath it is like a subset. So machine learning, software engineering; data science, software engineering, sort of; web development, software engineering. But it's all underneath like this tree and they're all like subsets. And then within web development, you have back-end engineer and front-end engineer and whatever, UI, UX. Like you even have growth engineers now. It's not like software engineering, but like it's just like the top title, and then everything falls underneath it as like a subset. And anyone else who says differently is probably some guy who does C# or C++ or Fortran is like, actually, no, that's not the definition. And that's cool, man. Whatever. That's the beauty of belief, and you can just believe whatever you want. There's no hard definition there. But they're all subsets in my mind.
It hasn't been asked as a question, but just kind of as a side note, I interview a lot of people for web dev jobs, software engineering jobs, DevOps, all those sorts of things. And I don't look for degrees. I look at, what have they been working on, side project? Have they got any open source work? Do they go above and beyond? Like, do they join chats like this? Do they help in the community? And do they try and contribute back? Because even if they're only 6 months into their career or they're learning, they can still help someone who was them 6 months ago, who's just learning. And I really believe that giving back to the community, no matter what level you're at, is really important. You'll learn from that. By trying to teach someone else, you'll learn so much. Do you go to events? Are you passionate about what you do? Yes, for a lot of people, it's a job at the end of the day. I'm not saying you have to code all weekend, but are you still passionate? Do you want to do a good job?
You got to preach more. I put you on full screen because you were going off. Go off on them. Yeah, tell them how it is.
Get in the zone. Open source. Must be doing open source. If I get a stack of CVs and I want to see the ones with their GitHub link in the CV first, because I can actually see their work. Even if the work's a few months old, it's not their latest, best work, I can at least see what they're like, how they comment on other people's PRs. That's still a contribution. Don't think that code is the only contribution. If you're updating someone's README because there's typos or they're missing a step in their quick start, that's a contribution. Raising a defect as an issue, that's a contribution. Actually, GitHub will mark that as a green box as well if you raise an issue. So raising an issue is good, or commenting on an issue. Oh, I've got this bug too, or this defect. I'm using this web browser, or whatever it is. That's adding value, and that's really important. I like to see how people collaborate, and that's really important. I would rather hire someone who has less experience and has smaller skill set, but they're really passionate and they want to do a good job. Doesn't mean they work all day and night. Let's not confuse the two. But someone who's just not interested, and they've got more experience and a few more skills because they've been doing it for maybe more years, but they don't want to do a good job. They just want that paycheck and that's it. Then I'm not so interested. I want someone to give me their feedback, and I want someone to not always agree with me. If you disagree with me, then just say it. Just call it what it is. Therefore, if we use the other person's idea, that's great. We've made a better decision. If we stick with my idea, say, then at least I was aware of the other idea and consciously chose not to do it the other way for whatever reason. I'm not saying my idea or your idea is better, but at least you've made a conscious decision rather than not being aware of it. So always, give your 2 cents. It's really, really valuable. And it makes the other person think as well. I love it when people challenge me. Always ask the question.
Let's see, how often are you planning on doing these? Like with Eddie? I don't know. Eddie and I should do one like every week or every other week. It's up to him. He travels more than me. He also has like 5 jobs. I do a live stream every day.
At least once a month, at least.
Yeah, we should do
one. I can show off my screens. Let me show off my screen.
All right.
Video. This is my setup, everyone. Let me switch to the back camera. I've got so many cameras. Let me see, does it come up? Welcome to my command center.
There's a battle station right there. This is Battlestar Galactica level. Jeez. I would be so paranoid that screen would just fall on my face. I don't know how you do.
If you've got any tips or anything else I can add to my command center that I'm missing, do let me know.
Jeez. Eddie, do you recommend Lowagon? It's Ruby focused.
Really good question. I've met the Lowagon. Turn my camera back, so you're not like seeing the back of my head while I talk. So I met some people who had finished Lowagon in London. I was actually really, really impressed. I've done 2 videos on my YouTube channel from people who have finished the Lowagon course and got jobs within a couple of weeks. And I've got 2 more videos to come out as well. So I had a great conversation with them. They were so welcoming and so inclusive. I love it how they organize things during the week, and they get people who were at Lowagon but got jobs talking about their experience. They even get external people. So I haven't done their course, but the first impressions I got, and looking at more of their videos on YouTube and seeing they've gone from strength to strength around the world in the last 5 years. I think they're in like 38 countries or something. They've done really well, and their team in London, who I've met, were really, really inclusive, and they're really accommodating. It was great. So yeah, big thumbs up. If you want to hear any specific information from them, let me know. I can go have a chat with them. I can maybe put some more discussions with them. I'd love to share that. I think it's good to get more transparency on these things.
Cool. Looking at some questions. Should you learn Harvard's online CS degree before JavaScript? I mean, you could learn either or. You could go forward or backwards there. It wouldn't really matter. It's going to be a phone interview, and they want to go through what projects you've done and what they're looking for in an applicant. Okay, so still do the same thing that I suggested. Still ask to see their application, ask to see their roadmap, ask to know what exactly you'd be doing and who you'd be working with. Why are they still stuck with Ruby? Ruby is great for Ruby on Rails. Ruby on Rails is good for prototyping. I wouldn't go further than that with it because I'm not a huge fan. Did I miss any other questions? Do I think regular expressions are great? Yeah, they're great. They're a little bit tedious, but they're good. Sometimes you just got to use them. What else did I miss? Philip says, I answered your question in text, Philip, but your employers don't value open source work and all their code is private. How do you keep up? Keep up with contributing to open source? Or, I don't know, let Eddie, he's the man.
That's a hard one. So it is a tough one. So many companies are scared, and I think they should at least open source some libraries they use or other parts of their project, not necessarily the whole project. Obviously, I think the whole project's better. I have my startups 100% open source. But if they're a bit nervous, and try and convince them to do part of it. And also try and do a little bit, like an hour a week. I'm not saying do your whole weekend. Try and do an hour a week contributing to open source. Even if it's your own project and your own learning, do that open. That all helps. That will help someone else. And if you come up with a challenge, share it. But yeah, speak to them. Keep explaining to the company why it's better to open source the project. They will get more eyes on the projects. It will naturally be a higher quality. The people on the core development team that are working on it day to day will want to do a better job because their friends will see it, their future employers will see it. And so naturally, again, another reason why be at a better level. So just keep chasing them. If they have any questions, send them in my direction, and we can convince them to open source. I've convinced so many companies to release their stuff as open source that I'm getting a bit better at it, but I'm happy for more practice.
There's a couple questions. Harshit, do I think it's worth going to college for computer science when taking into consideration boot camps? No, I don't think it's worth it, but it depends on where you live. Is college cheap? Are they teaching you relevant technologies? Do they care if you get a job at the end? Ask yourself those questions. You're going to go to school for 4 years and make 50K. College boot camp grad is going to go to school for 3 months and make 50K. Or, it might take them a little longer to find a job, but you're both going to struggle bus finding a job, so it doesn't matter, despite what you think. Let's see. What else did I miss?
I've missed so much. I'm letting you catch up with it all.
Can you explain a roadmap a little bit? Basically, like their plan down the road for features they want to add. Like, try to look at their roadmap. See if they're hiring you on as a dev for a dev position, and you look at their roadmap. Maybe you can call them out and be like, actually, I think if you're hiring me on for this position, this is kind of outside the scope of your project for this sort of timeline. Like, just call them out, like straight up front. You're just like invested within the product, and you don't think that this is a good idea, or it would cost them more money than they're estimating. Like, just it shows that you're already invested if you look at what they're doing and what they have planned. Or maybe you're just like, actually, so you wanted to build this with Ruby on Rails, maybe we could build this with this new technology that I just heard about that you can bring up in the interview while you're there. And they're like, oh, we didn't even know that was a thing. This guy must be up to date with stuff. So roadmaps are good. Look at roadmaps. Best way to learn React and Redux? There's 1,000,001 courses on React and Redux. I'm sure some people in the chat could link some good courses for that. When do you need Redux? Built a full stack Tinder app with native and didn't even look into it. Yeah, you probably don't. Like, for huge scalable applications with a complex state, use Redux. Like, we're talking like hundreds of users, thousands of users. Yeah, maybe you should probably start handling that stuff. But just like one little CRUD app, probably you don't need it.
My experience of Redux hasn't been good. I found that people use it as a dumping ground to just dump data, and then they go, oh, we want to manipulate data slightly differently, but we can't change it because it might break over there. We haven't got tests to check where it's going to break, so we'll just copy that whole object, part of that object, and have it over here, duplicate data all over the place. And yeah, I think there are better patterns, but that's just my personal opinion. Unless you're really strict with how data is stored and used within the Redux store, it becomes a bit of a dumping ground.
This is a good question. How do you get compensated for open source? Seems like the upside for open source projects is for the owner of the project and not for the devs contributing to it. So I don't think you do it to get compensated, really. You do it because you want to do it. Like, that's your thing. I don't know, Eddie.
It's a great way to learn. It's a great way for you to learn and work with other people. And it's like it's almost becoming your CV, or your resume, I think in the States you say. CV is a UK thing.
Curriculum vitae, right?
Yeah, Latin.
How did you, let's see. El Rhaegar, send it to my email. You look and sound so much like Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins. It's crazy. I guess that's good. Is there any way you can donate, Danveer? Yeah, you can hit the donate through the PayPal link, I guess, at the bottom. Let's see. How should you charge programming things which take 2 minutes to fix? Is it okay to charge $6, or should there be some way to charge an hour? Like, just charge hourly rates for that, or just be like, I figured out the issue, it's going to cost $30 to fix, and they're either going to be like, that's insane, or, because if it's like 2 lines of code and you know what it is, and you tell them it's 2 lines of code and you say, I'm charging you $30, they're going to be like, bro, really? But if you're just like, actually, I've discovered the problem, it looks a little bit more complicated than I initially thought it was, it's going to be about $30 to fix, then they're going to be like, oh, okay, even though it's like literally a syntax error. You got to sell yourself at some point. Supreme asked, tips for undergrads, but she retracted her message. I saw you. I don't know what you mean by tips for undergrads. Could you be a little bit more specific? Let's see.
Tips for everybody, undergrad or not undergrad, who wants to get started. Just get started. Just do it. Pick a project, pick a language, go to their quick start, and just get going. Open source on GitHub though. And I'm quite keen to see what open source stuff people are doing. We've had a few people contribute to my projects. It's great to see them get involved in the open source side. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing people's accounts and projects. We'll do another live stream where people can share what they're working on, some of their contributions and some of their projects. I'd love to do some open source project reviews as well to make their projects more inclusive.
let's see, to make your resume gain attention for a job, what should you do now that your options being... I have no idea. That's a tough one. You posted the question twice. I still don't know how to answer it. Yeah. How do you make money? Well, you don't. So this thing. Do you want a job or do you want to make money? So if you want a job, go to college or boot camp, I guess. You don't need either of those things to make money. All you need to make money is hustle and an idea to sell something. That's it. So you could do what Gary Vee does. You could look at his trash talk series where he goes to yard sales, finds Hot Wheels cars that they're selling for like 50 cents, and then he flips them on eBay for like $100 each. Like that's just straight hustle. Like, you don't need that kind of experience and knowledge to be able to make money. There's lots of ways to make money. You could go walk dogs on Rover to make money. You could work at home inputting data to make money. Any advice for finding some quick freelance work on the side hustle? So Philip, it's hard to find quick freelance. Quick freelance isn't, I don't necessarily think you could put two and two together there, because you need a brand as a freelancer. Especially now more than ever, you need a brand as a freelancer, because if no one knows who you are and no one knows your work, why are they going to pick you? They're just going to Google freelance web designer, and whoever comes up, whoever has the best brand or pays for the best brand, that's who's going to get the job. So you need a brand, you need people to back up what you're saying. You need a history, you need a reputation, people need to know who you are. You're just a stranger, you're just a freelancer, you're coming in saying, hey, I want to make this for you, give me money. They're like, who are you? Whereas if you have a brand, they can go back and watch a little bit about you and get to know you without getting to know you in person. I'm sure that's kind of how you guys feel about watching people on YouTube. Like, you see my stories and videos, and you see Eddie's videos, and you kind of get to know them as people up front, and so that makes the sell a lot easier when they already kind of know who you are. That was kind of a long answer.
And I think going to events helps, and meeting people and networking, it will kind of add to everything that Josh just said as well. You've got to build a brand for yourself. You really do. GitHub's good. All the socials are good. I think it's really, really important. Steph asked, what do I have on my post-its behind me? I have kind of like my to-do column in progress, and kind of like my agile board. But I'm using that less and less now because I have a wall across the whole room, and I'm using that a lot more. I should actually, show some drawings on that as well.
You should go over there. You should go stand in front of your whiteboard and swap cameras.
Okay, let me do
I'll put myself on full screen while you adjust.
Okay, cool.
Because he's, Let's see. Any advice for first developer resume with no related job experience? Josh, I think you emailed me, but I answered you. Basically, job experience doesn't matter if it's not related, okay? You use your projects as experience or proof of what you know, of proof of what you can do. That is, try to keep it IT related, bare minimum, if you have any work experience. If you don't, if it's like retail, probably don't put retail, probably don't put food service. I'm not bashing on those things. It's just they're going to be like, why is this here? You get like one page, that's taking up space. You could build little simple projects or elaborate on those projects in that space instead, which is much more valuable to an employer. How do you feel about Soylent? No thanks. I don't drink soy because it messes with your estrogen. Is there any challenges or open source stuff to test your front end skills? Eddie. I don't know what Eddie's doing. He's doing stuff.
On the wall.
All right, we're going back to you, Eddie.
Okay, cool.
All right,
Look.
here's a lesson.
YouTube. Oh, I can't even spell YouTube.
Oh, shout out to my left-handed bros. What up? I'm left-handed too.
Yeah. I hope you like my magnetic wall.
Wait, we missed it. Go back. You were literally there for like 2 seconds. I didn't know you were there.
Oh, okay.
Dylan is real. Every time you check, you're out here grinding. This is my job, right? So like Dylan, I've got like bills now. So it's like, you don't work, you don't pay your bills type deal. And I don't mind it because this is what I chose and I enjoy doing it. But, Dylan, let's do a video if you want.
Focus has gone weird. Sorry, guys and girls.
It's all right. It's like we're all in college right now. Everyone's leaving. I'm just kidding. It's good. Can you draw some Venn diagrams about SQL joins? Give us a lesson.
Okay, so 1 plus 1 equals 4. And that's what you learn at university. That's what I learned. And then you go into
4.
6, you get a lot more points. And points mean prizes. yeah, my magnetic wall.
I think that's pretty sweet. I need to get one of those. I feel when you thought you were about to get schooled and you learn 1 + 1 is actually, yeah. All right.
Let me switch cameras back.
Did I miss any questions? Hi, Dylan. Hi, Dylan. Made it to the live feed, getting ready for work. Mr. Danley, welcome aboard. Can you explain what the DOM is? Yeah, Master, I saw you ask that question. I didn't mean to ghost. We were in the middle of answering. DOM is a document object model, I think, something like that. Basically, it's the screen that you're looking at. When you open a browser, that is your DOM. Everything inside that window object is your DOM. And so you can manipulate the scrolling, you can manipulate event listeners, the DOM. So when you open your browser, everything you see under your bookmarks and URL bar, that's your DOM. You can't manipulate stuff outside of that, at least not with JavaScript. They want to move to start letting JavaScript manipulate stuff outside your browser, but that's bad for security. Don't want that to happen. But that's what the DOM is. The soy thing is a myth, man. Where did you hear that? No, I drank soy and it made me feel like shit. So unless you can feel how I feel, I don't know. Maybe it's a placebo, but that's not where I heard it. It actually, it raises your estrogen levels, and if you have sensitive hormones, which I do, so I have to be careful with diet and stuff. I just can't drink soy. My motivation just dives. So I don't know. Not a huge fan. I'll do like pea protein. I don't got any problems with that though. Let's see. You have a feeling that the portfolio is mostly used by web designers, not backend devs. Is that right? That's not true. Backend devs need a portfolio. It's not like you don't have like a front-end page that you can show, but you could have like a little write-up of what you did and how you built it. Like you could have a link to your API, like endpoints. That'd be cool to show how you structure your data for people.
Yeah, and also how you architectured the backend. So how you talk to the database. How did you do your domain model? There's so many things. I think front end or back end, neither are more difficult than the other. They all have their own challenges. So yes, the front end is more visual, but the back end you can talk more about what challenges you had on performance, security. There's so many things you can talk about and share.
Let's see. GSOC or Google Kickstart? I don't know what that is. To get attention to your resume. I don't know what either of those things are, so I can't give you advice. Let's see. Can a simple project in Python, C++ show that you know object-oriented programming work as support? Yeah, I mean, it can show that, but I don't know if that's going to translate too well to like a front-end job. It might translate to some other related job. I'm just not sure. Eddie, GSOC or Google Kickstart, do you know what those mean?
Yeah, they ring bells. There's just so much going on in the tech industry, I can't keep up with. Apologies. But put a comment at the end, and I'll check out the comments, and I will have a look it up and have a read up. And I can ask some people at Google, because I go to events with Google Cloud platform people, so I can ask.
If you're a dude and drink too much. Simple or complex on a portfolio? I think simple is better. You're not going to get that much of their attention for them to go in to take a deep dive if it is complex. I mean, I don't know if you guys watched one of my portfolio reviews, not to bash on this guy, but he like acknowledged it, he owned it, right? But essentially he almost had like a dating portfolio. He had like, here's what I like to do in my free time, and he had like pictures of himself and his family. He had a terms of service on his portfolio. Like, you're going to make an potential employer accept a terms of service to look at your portfolio, like, seriously? So it's very simple. Simple, to the point, real upfront. Let's see. If you're still skeptical about the effects, look at places. Yeah, and I guess, let's see. What do you guys think about programming community here on YouTube versus Twitch? Twitch is tiny. Twitch is very, very tiny. Twitch is a streaming platform. YouTube's not so much a streaming platform, but I don't know, they can't really compete. On Twitch, you can stream whatever music you want and not get demonetized. If I play any song, even in the background, like on TV, this whole entire stream just gets demonetized. All of it. Twitch censors the copyright song. So Twitch is like overall better in terms of monetization, but if I was like, all right, guys, we're going to go stream on Twitch from now on, yeah. So also, if you get a partner button on Twitch where you can start getting subs, you can't stream on YouTube anymore. So like Ninja, he's not allowed to stream on YouTube. All of the streamers there, basically, you get a partner button, you're not allowed to stream on YouTube anymore. You can do it, see if you get caught, see if they enforce it. But it's happened to a few people. Let's see.
I'm trying to answer some questions in the chat, so apologies if I miss any. I'm trying to get better and practice at this a bit more.
Josh, how long have you been on YouTube? I've been on YouTube since 2010 when I started making WoW videos because I wanted to be a professional WoW player. That was like the worst decision of my life. As a beginner junior dev, will learning and making projects with Ruby on Rails get you anywhere? Yeah, it'll get you places. It'll show that you know MVC. It'll show that you know front end and back end and ORMs. Ruby on Rails uses Active Record. What else you got? MVC, that whole understanding, model view controllers, that's transferable to Angular, transferable to Laravel, Symfony, Cake. Those are PHP. Can we bring back the WoW content? I really think that you guys want to see WoW content, but you don't want to see the WoW content. It's so bad. Professional gamer, good old goals. The first WoW video I made got 120,000 views like in one day, and I didn't understand the gravity of the situation because I was like 19, and I was like, oh, that must be what YouTube's like. And like little did I know, if I would have just kept building from there, I would be like a professional Twitch streamer and probably hate my life. Like that sounds good, right? Because you have so much money, but like honestly, I don't know if I could do Twitch because if you're not at Twitch, you're not making money. You have to stream, be there live, like on the job to make money. And yeah, your subs will fall off if you don't. So like YouTube, I make a video, post it, I can walk away. I can stream when I want, I can walk away. You can't walk away from Twitch because that's where your audience is. And it's not a video platform, so you can't start making videos instead. Let's see. 15 years, are you bored of coding? Eddie.
Yeah, not at all. But I think as you get more senior, I probably code not as much as I used to, so maybe like 75% of the time. But no, because every year it's always changing, and you meet so many more awesome people. Like a year ago, I wasn't doing this. So I'm going to meet all you awesome people, getting to chat with you, hopefully meet some of you at events. Also, I want to shout out to Gabrielle. He came to see me at the FOSDEM event last weekend, the week before last, in Brussels. Really sorry, I was packing up on the Saturday and he came to say hi. So if you are here and you are watching this, real apologies to run off. I didn't get to see you the next day. I wanted to catch up with you, so apologize for that. But it's great to meet, great to meet so many people. I love meeting people at events that I've also spoken to online or vice versa. And it's such a great community. I just feel the reach is big, and I'm always learning more, learning from all of you as well. So no, I love it. This year's great. Next year's going to be even better.
How hard is it to get back to studying algorithms when leaving a job to search for another one? You shouldn't leave a job to search for another one. You should search while you're on the job. And even when you get your dream job, search for jobs. Always have that play card in the back pocket. Like you always want to have that, oh, it's not working? Well, I actually got another job offer. Like you have leverage all the time, even if you feel guilty for doing it. Even if you feel guilty for having the best job, like it's some job that you didn't think that exists. It's still a job. You're still making $1 for every $10 a CEO is getting. So always be on the lookout for a new job. Just have that card. So don't quit your job to look for a new job. Let's see. Should you listen to the Natty Anthem? You gotta confuse the muscles, right, babe? And that's what Rich Piano would tell you to do. Let's see. Thoughts on the Learn to Code meme? Journalists are losing their minds. It's fantastic. I don't know. I don't read a bunch of. I'm too busy focusing on my life, worrying about what other people are saying about it.
Raul, is it Raul that you pronounce your... thanks for sending me your GitHub repo. Could you do me a favor and put it in a comment in one of my videos? That will really help my engagement, and I'll reply with some thoughts and ideas and stuff. So I'm not so keen on private messages, DMs, unless it's super private, because it doesn't benefit anybody else. Where someone else, watching it, reading it, can look at what you've done also, and they can look at my comments back and yours that you write back and so on. So yeah, think about open transparency, community, and it'll help all of us. So if you could do that on any of my videos, I'm not precious about which one, but I really appreciate that. I'll happily take a look. Probably be tomorrow morning. I will have a look.
While Weru come out, Josh, do you still code or YouTube full time? I code all the time. I code my website. I do PHP on my website. I do some custom WordPress stuff on my website. Because I'm just a one-man band. I know WordPress gets shit. Hold on, give me a second. Let me explain. WordPress is a one-man band where you do e-commerce, where you do APIs, where you do everything yourself. It's a great solution. I'm not going to make something from scratch with like React because I don't have time. and it just doesn't make sense. But I code all the time, and I teach code to people all the time that are learning to code to get in the industry. Everyone that I've ever taught how to code that has gone for me from start to finish now has a job. It's pretty sweet. Any tips on leveraging other job offers to get a pay raise? It's a fine line to walk, but you don't want to sound greedy and ruin work relationships, especially if you love working at your current employer. You got to get what you're worth. So you're either going to settle and take less than you're worth, or you care about your relationships more. That's like a personal choice. Leveraging other job offers, I'd probably be like, look, man, I really enjoy this job, but I received another offer that is approximately 15 to 20% more. Like, don't give them a number, right? 15 to 20% more than what I'm currently getting paid. And I was wondering if you guys could match that, because I really don't want to leave. However, I have some things in mind that I'd like to do with that extra money. I don't know. That's what I would say. What inspired you to start coding? Eddie, go.
So for me, I think I mentioned earlier on in the stream, I actually really detested coding at university. I did electronic engineering undergraduate, so BSc, and then I did BEng, and I did an MSc, a master's in advanced electronics. And I hated coding because it was just taught so badly. It was all theoretical and all this BS, and it was awful. Then I went to an event, a friend dragged me along, and then just being creative in your code, seeing the results, almost immediately, I really, really started enjoying it. And that's how I got into coding. I think that was the question, sidetrack. But yeah, I love it now. The community, the open source community, the tech community. Let me know also what events people are going to, conferences, meetups. I'd love to join you. I travel the world, just going to events, talking at events, vlogging at events. I'd love to join you at events. I'm thinking, most people I'm getting from the States. I'm thinking of going to a JavaScript conference, Skills Matter in New York in May. So hopefully see some of you there. But let me know if there's anything else I should go to while I'm there. That'd be great.
Let's see. What's your favorite language, Eddie?
I used to hate JavaScript for like 10 years. Okay, it was like kind of ES 1 and 2 back then. So ES 6 is pretty good, but I like it. So I do my backend API, Express, whatever I'm using, in TypeScript, and Angular is TypeScript as well. So TypeScript is kind of like a nice form of Java. I like Java. I do like Java. But yeah, everyone asks for JavaScript. So all my clients want me to do JavaScript. So I'm using JavaScript most of the time now, 100% of the time. Or TypeScript, I should say.
What languages do you recommend to build a website? I mean, everything boils down to the skeleton, which is HTML, and then whatever you use to, whatever you want to use to eventually compile into HTML is your choice. It all comes down to that at the end of the day, whether you're doing it in PHP or Ruby or ERB files or Blade files or Twig files or what else? Python view files, I forget what those are, but it doesn't matter. It all boils down to the same thing. Let's see. What inspired you to start a YouTube channel? I like that question. Thanks, Music Catalog. Eddie, you go.
I want to be Josh when I grow up. I think that's what there's a few. Number one, he's just so passionate about what he does and he wants to help people, and I think that's really important. That really shows. Gary Vee, I think what he says about branding is really important, and what Josh said earlier on. I just want to get more people. I want to scale. So I get invited to lots of events, be it at Google, I've got one coming up in a couple of weeks, Expedia, Twitter, wherever it is. And I get to meet all these amazing people, as I've said before, but I can't scale. So I've started YouTube because I want to take people who aren't in the country, who can't come to the event for whatever reason. I want to show them why events are so great and introduce them to the amazing people that I meet and why you should follow them on social media. So yeah, really just to share the awesome message and what I learn and to scale a bit better. So any tips or improvements I can do, please let me know. I'm all ears.
Okay. There's another couple questions. To better your skills, would it be better to participate in hackathons or work on personal projects? A hackathon is a personal project. You're just building it with other people. And you get to network. So hackathon is you bonus points because you get to network with people, and then maybe you can hit up them if you're building personal projects alone. They'd be like, yo, bro, remember when we built this together? I can't figure this out. Can you help me? Now you have resources to go to and help learn, and they can help you build stuff, or you can make a little startup together or whatever. So hackathon, you get bonus points for networking and potential friends to help you solve bugs. But they're still personal projects. Everyone can claim it equally.
So the answer is do both as well. I think do both. Yeah, I agree with everything Josh said, but do both. You need a balance. Working by yourself, you can go a bit faster, but you want to learn other stuff that other people are sharing at events, and you want to share. Because when you try and teach people, I think it reinforces the information in your mind. So do both. Find a balance. One hackathon a month.
Fanviewer wants to know, what is the highest pay possible for a web developer? That is not dependent on the title. That is dependent on the person's hustle. Let me tell you this, though. No one ever becomes a millionaire making a salary. So the highest pay, that's totally up to you what you want to do. I would probably make an application, turn it into a SaaS product, sell it for $2.99 a month, get 400,000 people, and now you've made more than anyone else that you probably know. So like the highest, you want to know like highest average salary? CTOs range from 200 to 400,000. Those are larger companies. I imagine the interview process is insane, probably like terrible. And I don't know, I see a lot of senior stuff towards 180, and then I see a lot of like 4, 5, 6 years experience in front end at like 120-ish, 90-ish. But basically, there's no cap on a highest amount of money. So if you think that there's a highest amount of money, you'll never go past whatever you think that is. Basically, it just you don't need to be a web developer to make a lot of money. Let's see. You can become a millionaire living on a salary just by living on less than you make. Well, I mean, I suppose you can become a millionaire by living on salary, but you'd have to save every penny that you make over time, and there's really nothing you can do to make more money. If you work more hours, sorry, salary, you don't get more money. That's my problem with salary. It's good for lazy people who hate their job and have a nice salary, do 18 hours a week, and just sit back and collect that paycheck. And that's great for those types of people. But if you're someone who wants to get paid what they're worth, get paid what the work they put in, paid on results, the salary is not the way to go. But you shouldn't like, I don't know, you shouldn't work 120 hours a week for no extra pay, despite whatever ladder it is you're trying to climb. That's my advice. Let's see.
So we're getting some good questions.
Best language for backend? It depends on what you want to do. There's no best language for anything. As soon as I say any language, actually, someone will be like, well, actually, did you know? So no point in engaging best for this best. It's like Apple versus Windows. Like, just imagine, What do you guys do to build passive income? So I have some passive income. I sell resumes and stuff. What else? YouTube ad revenue is passive. I get paid on the results, so it's not technically passive. I put in the work up front to make the video, and then however good the video does depends on my ad revenue. So that's sort of passive. It's not totally passive like real estate, where you just have people living there for like a year and you just scrape off the top. It's not like that. But everyone needs to work towards that. You could do a mutual fund at 4 to 8%. If you have a lot of money, then you can make a living off of that. High dividend returned funds. That could be good. Let's see. No one wants to be 65. Like, I don't know. Like, yeah, like you can still be a millionaire on salary, but like you're going to be 65 years old and you're going to be in a golden wheelchair because that's the only thing you have to spend your money on since you're too old to actually do anything. Yeah, you can get to millions. Like, I'm sure my grandpa probably got pretty close to millions, but now he's like, 65, health declined, like not old enough to do anything. Millions for golden years? No thanks. Pass on that. Let's see. "65 isn't old, bro." Okay, well, if the average lifespan of a male is like 82 to 83 years old, that's terrible. Like, I'm not going to wait until I'm 65 to start living life. That's essentially what most people do. They wait, they work until 65, and that's when they start to live. And now, I can finally relax, like it's over. Like, that's a terrible way to think about it. How to get hired when you're new to coding and self-taught? You just get hired the same way anyone else would. It's, just apply, get rejected, apply. You're 69. No, you're not. Should you mention your Medium articles in your resume? Yes, absolutely.
I think so.
Maybe not resume, maybe cover letter if it's related. So if you wrote an article about like this new React feature that they're coming out with and you're applying to a React job, maybe you could be like, oh, by the way, I'm really passionate about React and I actually noticed this one feature that we might be able to implement into your project. I'm not sure if you've looked at it yet, but here, check out my Medium blog. Boom.
Yeah, if it's relevant, definitely include it somehow. But you've got to think that when someone's getting a CV or looking at your CV, they're going to be getting a stack of probably 50 because recruiters are shit. No offense to any recruiters here. So yeah, it's you want to stand out. So if you've written like, I don't know, 1 or 2 pages cover letter, then it's too long. It should be short and punchy. So if you've done some tutorials on Medium or some events, then definitely include it. You want to try and keep your, I mean, Josh does this really well, but you want to keep your cover letter short and sweet and concise. And same with your CV. Try and look at it from another person's point of view. If they're reading it, you've probably got about, I don't know, 15, 20 seconds to capture someone. For me, if you want to capture me, I want to see a GitHub link with some activity. I don't care what the activity is. Tutorials or Medium, events, all awesome stuff. So yeah, try and include that extracurricular activity. It's not just about your day job. And if your hobby is about, I don't know, programming a Lego robot, then include that because that's still related. You're still learning about debugging and how to solve engineering issues and those sorts of things. So if it's related, definitely include it.
Let's see. What else did we miss? I have a couple minutes left, and then I have a student I'm going to be teaching today. Post a link on your latest video. What's your Insta? His Insta is just his name.
Yeah, it's all just my name. I can post it. I don't use it more on YouTube, but I will post it.
He's getting better at Instagram.
But yeah, I do need to get.
Everyone asking how, just jump in, stop waiting for a roadmap of how to do everything. Exactly, right? So you should not get motivated to do it. You should not get inspired to do it. You should just do it. Like, there's so many things in life I just do that I have no motivation to do. Like, I'm going to go to the gym after I teach my student. Normally I go in the morning, and now my schedule's all messed up, so I don't feel motivated to do it because I'm out of routine, and I don't really want to go to the gym, but I'm going to do it anyways, and it's going to be fine. You don't need to be motivated to code. You don't need to be motivated to study. You don't need to be motivated. Typically, the way it works is you do the thing first, and then in 5 minutes you feel motivated. Otherwise, you're going to be waiting every blue moon and feel motivated for 5 minutes, and then you're going to do some work, and then you're going to be like, wow, that was great, and you're going to wait to feel motivated again. Chances are it's going to be another 8 months down the road, and that's not how you make progress. Sorry, I'm just ranting, but you don't, like, it's action, motivation, inspiration. It's everyone thinks it's the reverse. Everyone thinks it's motivation or inspiration to, oh, wow, that's awesome. Then you get motivated, then you do it. It's the other way around, actually reverse. It sounds so backwards, but that's how it works.
But sometimes backwards is good, right? Back in the day, like 10 years ago, we used to write code first. And now we're writing test first, test-driven development. So sometimes you've got to think of things differently, or backwards, it sounds harsh, but you're thinking things differently in reverse. Sometimes you want to mix things up a little bit to, get things going and excited.
I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you guys have experienced this, but basically, like, you got something to do, you got homework, you got a project, you got something that you need to do, so suddenly your entire house just ends up clean, like just super shiny everywhere. Like, there's a reason for that, because there's a disconnect in your mind. You know that you should be doing something, but you are so focused on the pain, like, aversion. Like, you know it's going to suck to do the thing that you don't want to do, and because you keep thinking about it, it sucks even more, and it's going to be painful. So the, like, pain aversion, this is what we do. You end up doing something else that's not so bad, so your house just ends up clean, like procrastinating. Philip Carter, I like that word, procrastinating. That sounds like a book. I should write that.
Procrastinating.
That's true. That's facts. If you were a guy working as
one tip I'd like to give, if I can just jump in there, one tip I'd like to build this side project or this open source feature, whatever it is, and you think of it massive, you're never going to do it. But if you think, right, I just want to build a side project, like if you were going to do like your, I don't know, profile page, I'm just going to do my name on a web page or GitHub pages, hosted for free, open source. Just do that today or this weekend. And next week, like, raise an issue and say next week, right, I have to put a description. Then you'll do that little and often. If you try and think big, you're going to panic. And I still do that now. I try and break things up really small. Try and do a bit of work that you can do within as small as possible, 30 minutes. Therefore, if you've got a 30-minute gap between stuff, you can get that done. Then the next day you can do the next thing. Every little improvement is a huge contribution. And then imagine in a month or 2 months how much you'd have built. Hopefully that helps.
Thanks for everything. You're from the Philippines, and you're starting Web Dev Bootcamp next week. Do you have any advice for aspiring developers? You're not aspiring if you're already doing, my guy. You either do or you do not. There is no try. If you're trying, you're doing. So you're not aspiring. You're already doing it, man. You're signed up. You're going. You're doing it. Tips: prepare to get stuck a lot, and just realize everyone gets stuck, and no one wants to admit it. So you're gonna look around, and you're gonna be like, well, everyone else is getting it. Why am I so dumb? And just realize they're looking around too when you're not looking. What are the major tips for becoming a senior software engineer in your opinion? I don't really know. Just put in the work, put in the time. You can be senior without having 8 years experience. Someone's going to get triggered over that, but it's not years in a seat that makes you senior. It's what you can produce and your ability to study and results. I
second that like times 1,000. The amount of times I interview people who go, I've got 20 years in this government place, and they can't do a fucking for loop. Oh, sorry, pardon my French. But it just really frustrates me. It just really frustrates me that people go, I've got 20 years, but they've only got 1 year because they've been doing the same thing every year for 20 years. So yes, at the beginning, years are important, 2, 3, 4 years, but after that, it's just continue learning. Make sure you're learning. You can't look back at your code a month ago and think it's going to swear again. Think it's really bad, bleep, then you haven't learned anything. I look at my code from a week ago and I think it's bleep. So you've got to look back at your code and think it's actually one of my interview questions is, what do you think of your code from a couple of months ago? I even try and pull up some of their code on GitHub. If they say it's really good, I'm a bit disappointed. So
just calling them out, just blasting them in the interview. Oh, you think this is good? Well, it's not, because you should be improving. Wow. And they just walk out and they're just like in tears.
No, I never insult anyone.
This is what Eddie does.
I want them to say that they've improved and they would do it differently.
He's like,
even
really? You think your code is good? There's a door. All right,
I'm not doing interviews. I'm not, honestly. Only when people lie.
He's just like, are you shitting me?
I need to screenshot this.
Oh man. Okay, so I have to wrap it up because I have a student here. I'm already a couple minutes late, but it should be okay. So, Eddie, thanks for the live stream. Thanks guys for asking the questions. Hopefully it helped. We'll do one of these again soon. I think Eddie and I have like some good what is the word? Chemistry? Whatever. Great
Man,
sunglasses.
You're awesome. Keep up the great work, and thanks for motivating me to do my YouTube. So I really appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
And we'll see you all soon. Have a great day, everyone.
All right, guys. Take it easy.
Open source.
Open source. We're out.